Cool, man. So we're live. So again, thanks for taking some time to jump on here with me. And just as you were starting to get into kind of telling your story, why don't you just introduce yourself, kind of what market you're in, how long you've been doing this, and kind of pick up where you left off and share your story with me and catch me up.
My name is Adam Wimberly. I live in Muscle Shoals, Alabama. So the Carver County, northeast part of Alabama is my market. Been in it a little over 2 years, not quite. I mean, it's probably been 25 months. So I still consider myself pretty new. I have a full-time job. I'm a steel worker by trade outside of real estate, and I have a crazy schedule. I tried to explain it to my broker, and my broker's assistants are like, well, tell me your schedule so we can set up meetings. And I said, well, all right, I work 2 days off 3, work 3 off 2. So they was like, well, when are your consistent off days? I said, I never have a consistent off day. So anyway, it's the way my schedule works. I've always wanted to do real estate. I've invested quite heavily in the past, and didn't quite go the way I wanted it to. So I said, that wasn't my plan, but maybe real estate being a realtor is, and it's certainly proven to be the plan that I should have took a long time ago. So crazy schedule or not, I love it.
Cool. And we're going to get into that in a little bit because, yeah, you shared that with me. And what inspires me about that schedule, quite frankly, is you're the type of guy, and this is where I want the people that are going to watch this in the future to really learn about you. I mean, you're the type of guy, when people throw around the term of, taking action and 10X and all this stuff, all these words, like you live it. I mean, you're the guy, you know what I mean? So we'll share that with the audience here in just a second. But how did you and I meet?
I actually heard your podcast or heard on Real Estate Rock Stars.
Pat Hyben.
Well, no, it wasn't that. I heard that one too, but it was one that really inspired me. It was with the two gentlemen.
Greg McDaniel and Matt Johnson.
That was it. I heard you role play on there, and I heard how your system worked, and I said, I've bought some trainings. I've bought Grant Cardone University, which was a pretty penny. And it was a great program, but not necessarily for realtors, for what I wanted to use it for. It would be great for the other for sale by owner approach, where you're being very upfront. You're being very, I say upfront, but very aggressive.
Sure.
That's the best way of putting it. So it's not the style that I wanted. I bought 2 other for sale by owner programs, and just didn't prove to be what I was looking for my personality, my mentality. And I come across yours. I said, that's it. That's the golden ticket that I was looking for. And it's proven to be a win ever since.
Cool. So talk us through that, right? I mean, talk us through, because you've been in my for sale by owner program now for how long?
About 9 weeks, maybe.
Okay. So so walk us through, help people understand, because I'm trying to share this message with every real estate agent across the world. And it's just a different thing than I think what most agents are being taught. So walk me through what you tried to do before, Adam, and then now kind of being part of what I teach. What's the difference?
Well, from Grant Cardone, I love the guy. I follow him and all of his stuff, but he is a very aggressive person, and that's just not the way I present myself. I couldn't do that because I hate when people are aggressive with me. But he was a used car salesman. I mean, that was his approach. I went with the guy that wrote Yes Masters, Kevin Ward.
Yeah.
Great stuff. He's got some great things, but I didn't like his approach. I didn't like his very aggressive, trying to just get in the door and sell yourself over the phone kind of approach. That just wasn't part of me. I bought the FSBO system. That's a great training, but that's when I actually reached out to you on your Facebook page and asked if there's some people I could talk to. Because, I've already bought 3 systems at this point, and none of them were really what I was looking for. And I flat out told the 2 people that that had messaged me, I actually called them. I said, look, I need meat and potatoes of everything. And the FSBO system is kind of in line with yours, but, man, he is like 98% mindset over meat and potatoes. Mentally, I'm there. I didn't really need that. I needed meat and potatoes. And when those guys, when I had talked to 2 of your students, they said, you're going to get mindset, but you're going to get versus 98% mindset, you're going to get 98% meat and potatoes. He said, it sounds like your mind's where it needs to be. You just need the actual things to say and do. And I said, that's it. That's when I bought your program, and that was everything I needed laid out for me. That's what I had been lacking, was a system.
Makes sense. And the other thing too that's I think hard for you to take advantage of because of your crazy schedule, which we're about to go through in just a second, is in the program now I'm doing a live training every Wednesday. And I know that's hard for you to get to, but you can definitely watch the replays of those. And people are having breakthroughs on those hour-long trainings, and they're live. So I know those are almost impossible for you to make, but make sure you go back and watch those to add on to everything else you've already learned, okay?
Right.
Cool. So let's walk through your schedule. Talk to people about, what it's like to be you and some of the results you're getting with For Sale by Owners and just in your real estate business with your crazy, crazy schedule.
Last month was my best month. I netted over $10,000 less last month in closed sales. The three biggest commissions were For Sale by Owners. One was a $450,000 listing. I should have had both sides of that. I couldn't make the appointment with the buyer because of my work schedule, so I had to refer that off. And lo and behold, they write a contract on site. So I lost that because of my schedule. But that last month was my best month. This month I've got 5,600 pending so far. So I've really blown it up. Like this is the best success I've had, and the only difference is the 9 weeks, 8 or 9 weeks I've had of your training. So like I work 2 weeks a days, 12-hour shifts, and then I work 2 weeks a nights, 12-hour shifts. Mm-hmm. So my body's never regulated. It's never going through the same diet, the same workout plan that I do. So that's my challenge. Like I just worked the last 5 nights in a row. I worked off yesterday morning and was pretty much a zombie all day, but still got up, had a showing, had 3 calls and set a preview appointment. Today I've got a list. I just agreed to a listing. I called it For Sale by Owner, spoke to him 5 times, showed his property to somebody, and I caught him out of the blue. And I just said, man, I could sell your place. What do you think about doing a short-term listing with me? So let me prove myself to you if I can net you what you need. And they said, come on. So, I mean, that was just me being blunt because I spoke to this guy so many times, and I could hear in his voice, and I could see 99 days on market for Sale by Owner. I just called him and hit him up, and he said, all right, let's do it. Come on. And that just kind of set my day right there.
Right.
So I never have anything set. That's my challenge is time.
So that makes a lot of sense, right? And I think I just want to add on to what you just said, because I think a lot of people miss what you just said, and that is, what I teach is different than what people are teaching. However, it's about listening for the opportunity and then jumping on it, just like you just did, right? By building that relationship, but you heard the opportunity and you jumped on it. That's what I've been really, really focusing on training these agents that are in our program. So I'm glad that you brought that up. Let me ask you this. Here's, I think, and maybe you explained this to me before. What do you have to do in real estate to not have your full-time, quote unquote job? Or is that even the goal?
It is long term. I tell my wife, I make really good money. I make right around 6 figures a year with my regular job. And I told my wife, but she's scared to death that one day I'm just going to come in to work, come into the house and be like, all right, I'm quitting my job. She's scared to death of that security, that paycheck, that insurance, all the benefits. But I did tell her, I said, once it starts costing me more money to go to work, we're going to have to sit down and have that serious discussion. And so far it hasn't. I mean, of course I could make a whole lot more money doing this than if I didn't have my actual crazy hectic schedule that I have. But I think she needs to see consistently $5,000-$10,000 a month coming in before she will be willing to cross that bridge.
Which I think is fair, right?
Yeah.
You and I talked about that, and I think our whys, for the most part, they tell us what we need to hear. You know what I mean? And for the most part, they're right.
Right.
They're right. And I think one of the things that I'll want to work with you on is thinking bigger. Because when we look at, hey, I make a great income, that perspective or perception for different people means different things. Mm-hmm. Right. And with your skill set, with your work ethic, with your hunter mentality, the things, Adam, that you can achieve in real estate, I don't even know if you and your wife have even scratched the scratch of the surface.
Right.
There are people inside our program, right, that, just getting started, made $80,000 last month. Right. And so anyway, I think you're on the right track. I think you're right where you need to be. Let me ask you this. I mean, you're essentially you're making $5,000 to $10,000 a month based on everything you're learning part-time. Mm-hmm. what do you think is holding some of these agents back from getting even just to your level, right? To where we're making consistently $5,000, $7,000, $10,000 a month. You're doing it part-time. Most full-time agents can't even get to it.
I think it's diving into the material. I am still uncomfortable on the phone, just eight to 9 weeks in. But I don't know. I've been a business owner in the past. I've done things, and I know that if you're not out there drumming up business, somebody else is. I mean, I've got all of your objections. I can even show you. I got them on my other desk over here. I've got the objection handlers. And I hate to say objections because I don't try to fight the objections over the phone. It's try to do your ARPing method. I've got those on note cards. When I'm sitting there at work and I'm not busy, I'm going over them. That way they're more fluid. I don't even have to think about it when something like that comes up. I've got all your audios. I got your live dials that you had on YouTube for a while. I've got those on MP3 on my iPhone. So if I'm on a forklift that day, all I'm listening to, I'm literally diving into it in such a deep level. Because I know if I don't, I don't work with buyers. I don't have the time to work with buyers. I used to be a buyer's agent in my other brokerage, and I hated it. I hated being on the road constantly, showing 20 houses, and then them deciding, we're just going to stay put. And now I've got 2 weeks shot where I should have been doing something else at that point. So I don't work with buyers at all, and that's coming from some of your training. But I can't. I don't have the time to do that. If I did, it'd be a different story. I don't deal with lots anymore. That's something off of your training. I don't have the time and the energy to go out and fight to find a builder or somebody that's going to put an offer on a $15,000 lot. I don't deal with them anymore. So I've really utilized my time the best because I dove into your training, which before I was all over the place. I was just trying to grab whatever I could, but now I'm honed in on what I want, and that's listings.
Yeah, no, good for you. Good for you. And I just don't think it's going to be that long until you're having that conversation with your wife to say, listen,
I hope so.
I'm at $15,000, $20,000 a month, hon. And, and I'm doing it part-time. Could you imagine what I could do with my skill set now that I'm learning? Could you imagine what our life could be like if we were to do this full-time? And sometimes, it's about taking that leap of faith, right? And having a deep rooted belief system in ourselves, not, you know what I mean? And so I think you're on a great path to that.
Well, here's something else. The first brokerage I worked with, I was on a team. The first 6 months didn't have a single sale, didn't have a single contract, and I was just aimless. I didn't know what to do. And then he said, we need to jump on my team and just be a part of this team, and you'll be a buyer's agent. I didn't know what I was doing, was not happy. I learned that real quick. And my sales just completely leveled off to nothing. And I joined another company, and that company had interviewed me because the number one producer in this entire market gave me my name. For whatever reason, I had a couple of deals with her, and she just saw something in me. Well, long story short, I think that you have to be surrounded. And I liked your video about EXP, and it's nothing about EXP, but I could not be where I'm at today if I was in a company like that. And it's not, like I said, there's nothing against him, but the owner of this company called Marmac Real Estate, he worked for 3M for 20-something years and was a $30 million a year producer while he worked at 3M. He worked swing shifts just like I did. He hired a full-time assistant to take care of his calls while he was asleep, while he was at work, and still working 40 to 50 hours a week on crazy hours and crazy shifts like me. He was still a $30 million a year producer. So I've got him basically in my back pocket showing me step by step what I need to be doing. And he just had a reality check, or he gave me a reality. He had a heart attack at like 45 years old. Because of all of the stress and everything. And he told his wife when he got out of the hospital, he said, I'm going to finish in my 2 weeks at 3M and I'm done. I'm going to be a full-time realtor. Now he has 6 branches under his belt and he's making really good money. And he's kind of the one that's shaping how I need to go about doing it. So the other brokerage, he never understood where I was coming from with my crazy schedule. Now I've got a guy that's lived it. So he is able to help shape me the way I need to be shaped.
It's great. No, man, that's a good story. You're lucky. You're lucky to have that. And you're right. It's not about any one company, right? It's about our environment, who we're in business with, and who we listen to. Those are all choices we get to make. So what is in between, Adam, where you're at today, right now in this conversation, and where you need to be? What's that gap that needs to be filled in order for you to put you, your wife, your family in a situation to better your life, Because I'm telling you what, I talk to realtors all the time, right? It's what I do. It's what I do all the time. Like you talk to for sale by owners, I talk to realtors all day. And I would tell you, there's a small handful that are really, really special people. And I got to tell you, you're in that bucket. And I mean that. And so what needs to bridge the gap for you to really take this thing to the next level?
I don't know. I have a lot of ideas that go through my head. Since I make a good living and my wife works as well, all of our bills get paid through just our regular jobs. Our savings gets built up from our regular jobs. All of my real estate commissions goes into a totally separate account, and it stays there. So the money that I have spent, I used to buy a lot through Zillow before I come here and then restructured my focus. I was big on realtor.com. So I wasted a ton of money on those sites. Now I don't buy a single lead. I'm a part of Red X, their for sale by owner program. That's the only outgoing money I really have outside of, my regular, fees for being a realtor in 2 different MLSs. So all of my money is basically being stockpiled right now. And I don't really know if I want to just pay my house off, because that's our biggest expense, before I were to quit, or if I want to purchase just real estate, like investment properties. And then from that angle, once that my income is replaced through rental properties, I can quit. I don't know. I need a security blanket, or I feel like I need a security blanket in a sense, to where if something happened to me, my family would still be took care of outside of me quitting my job and losing that income. You know what I mean? I'm ex-military, so I've got the mindset that I can do it. It's just making sure my wife, family, and everybody's on board, and we're all congruent on kind of what we need to happen. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's kind of hard to put in words, I guess.
No, it makes sense. Listen, many people have that same thought pattern, that same thing that they're trying to figure out in their life. Separate time, separate call. I'm going to walk you through a really, really cool exercise. Maybe even have your wife on the call and on the training with me, so you guys can go through that together. And the one thing I'll give you right now, just so I don't have to leave you hanging, is most people, just so that you know, Adam, live life the way that you're talking about, saying, have to be. So the words have to be, just, what's your wife's name again?
Amanda.
Reverse that. And here's what I'll give you. Have you ever heard this before?
I believe I have in one of your trainings.
Okay, good. So I talk about it all the time. So let me just walk you through this really quick. Most people say, I have to have this in order to do this. I have to do this in order to do this. And we live life like that. It's natural how we're brought up. It's just very natural. What I challenge people, how I challenge people to live, is just do the opposite. And so what I'm writing is have to be, just reverse the words. Who, Adam, do you need to become today to have the life that you want? I'm going to let that settle in. You should think about that with your wife, because that's a decision that you get to make today without anything having to happen at all. Who's the person Adam needs to become to give your wife, your kids, your family the security that you're after? It's not your job, okay? It's not your job. It's all about Adam. So I'll let that soak in, and I want you to think about that, okay?
Okay.
So what's the goals? What's the goals for the next 12 months? Where are you aiming for? Where do you want to be?
I would like at least 5 million in sales. If I can do that, that'll be 5 times. I had a million in sales the first year I was a realtor. This is right around the start mark of my second year. So, or the end mark of my second year. And I really want to close out this year with 5 million in sales. And I'm pretty close to that. So that's my goal. I don't have a certain dollar that I want to make. A lot of people want to say, I want to grow, so I want to net this amount. I'm more in it for the sales. In my area, it's a very small area. We're called the Quad Cities. So we have 4 cities that really make up one large part of this area. And I don't really know the population here, but I know the guy in Madison that you interviewed several weeks ago. He can kind of contest because he's done some stuff down here. We're a very small area. So to get where I need to be, I think our number one producer is at 21 million. I mean, that's what it takes to be a number one producer here in the area right so far to date here in September. I think she'll probably finish out the year 35 and she'll be our number one producer. So, if I can get 5 million, I personally will be happy inside just from that number. But of course, I want to do the best I can possibly do. I want to exceed that. But I mean, if I can get the 5, that'll be 5 times more than I've ever made or ever sold.
Good for you. Good for you. No, that's exciting. Let me end with this. I'll end with this last question. If you could go back and start over again, you've been doing this for 2 years. Mm-hmm. What are some of the things that you would do differently and advice you would give to agents now to get to the point where you're at?
Man, I've been a buyer's agent. I hated it. Some people love it. I door knocked. The first 3 months, I downloaded an app on my phone, and all I did was door knock. That's where I got my first listing. That's where I got my first sale. But, man, there's only so many doors you can knock in a day. I hit 50 doors a day every off day I had. So roughly 7. I didn't do it on Sundays to give them some peace. So 6 days, 300 doors every 2 weeks maybe. But if I were on the phone trying to set appointments with for sale by owners, there's just no telling what I could have accomplished in that first time. I'm not knocking door knocking. It's a great thing for somebody to do. But I've done the door knocking. It's hard and it's tedious. I've been a buyer's agent, didn't like it. Never tried expireds. I've never tried it. But once I came across your program, I knew that's what I had attempted for sale by owners before your program. Didn't know what to say, didn't know how to say it, didn't know what to overcome. Just said, hey, I even tried the things that you coached not to do, which was pretend you have a buyer. And I hated to even do that, but you never know if you have a buyer back then. But now I don't beat around the bush. I just say, hey, can I preview your home? If I can, great. And then there's other things that go along with it. But it's amazing the difference that I've accomplished with I don't prospect anything else. I don't have the time to. I don't have the time to geo prospect. I want to focus on one thing and one thing only, and essentially become not necessarily a master, but the best I can possibly be at it.
Good for you, man. No, I appreciate you taking the time. It's great advice, and it's just, for me, it's refreshing to be able to teach somebody what I know that's given me and my family the success that I've had. It's great to have someone like yourself to actually take action, to actually go to the depths of the information and do something with that information. Super, super inspiring to me. And it makes me want to do more for you. Wants me to do more for your family, wants me to do more for everybody out there. So again, thanks for taking the time, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, brother.
Bye, man. Bye.